15 billionaire mansions you need to see to believe. Number 15. La Mer. This ultra-modern mansion is situated in Vaucluse, east of Sydney, and overlooks the bay towards the Sydney Opera House. The stunning house was built in 2013 by casino tycoon James Packer and his now ex-wife, Erica Baxter. It was sold just 2 years later to Australian-Chinese businessman and billionaire Chow Chak Wing. Taking an incredible 3 years to construct, this stunning estate covers 6 stories and it is the most expensive house in Australia. The property features 6 bedrooms in the main residence, a fully equipped gym, a cinema that can seat 20 people, 2 self-contained staff quarters, and a lap pool and a rooftop lawn. Oh yeah, and in case you're looking for somewhere to park your car, it also has a 20-car parking garage. Number 14. Upper Phillimore Gardens. This gorgeous Victorian villa was once the most expensive house in the world. It was bought in 2008 by business magnate and philanthropist Viktor Pinchuk and his wife Olena, the daughter of the former Ukrainian president. This 126 million 5-story mansion features an underground swimming pool, a high-tech panic room, a full gym, a spa, and of course a cinema. When the new owners bought the house, they spent over $15 million renovating and modifying their new 10-bedroom villa to include all of the latest technology and mod cons. Number 13. Palazzo di Amore. Situated on 25 acres of prime real estate, this luxurious Mediterranean-style villa sprawls over 53,000 feet. Of those, 15,000 square feet are assigned to an entertainment complex, which houses a ballroom with a revolving door that can accommodate over 1,000 people. Owned by real estate tycoon Jeff Green, Palazzo di Amore was listed at $195 million, making it the most expensive property ever listed in the United States. This dreamy villa consists of 12 bedrooms, 23 bathrooms, a bowling alley, a theater, tennis courts, swimming pools, reflecting pools, waterfalls, vineyards, and a 27-car garage. Number 12. Seven the Pinnacle. Nestled in the snowy mountains at Yellowstone Ski Resort, this mansion is the largest property in the Yellowstone Club, a private ski and golf community for the ultra-rich. Owned by billionaire real estate developer and timber baron Tim Blixeth and his wife Edra, this impressive home is worth $155 million. Among the many amenities, it offers heated floors, heated indoor and outdoor swimming pools, a wine cellar, a full gym, and to top it all off, a private ski lift. The sprawling mansion houses 10 bedrooms, each one with its own ensuite bathroom and a built-in fireplace. Number 11. Promised Land. This beautiful Georgian-style estate is located on 42 acres of lush land, and the California mansion itself features 23,000 square feet of luxury. This one is owned by Oprah Winfrey, the CEO of Oprah Winfrey Network, and the spectacular $90 million mansion was built in 1959. Among this house's features, 6 bedrooms, 14 bathrooms, 10 fireplaces, more than 600 rose bushes, a tennis court, and a tea house. In case that's not enough, you can always wander outside and check out the artificial lake, complete with fish and a barn overlooking it. Number 10. Fairfield. Built in 1999 and valued at a whopping $245 million, this massive oceanfront estate is located on 63 acres and covers 110,000 square feet. If that sounds big, it's because it is. It's massive. As a matter of fact, despite being built in 1999, the owner, billionaire investor Ira Rennert and his family, could not move in until 2004. The cause of this? A lawsuit alleging that the house was too large and could have a negative impact on the entire neighborhood. The mansion was built anyway, but Southampton houses now can't be any more than 20,000 square feet, less than a fifth of this size. The sprawling Fairfield estate features 29 bedrooms, 39 bathrooms, 3 swimming pools, 2 courtyards, and its own synagogue. Obviously, in a property that large, you can't be bothered walking outside to try to find a synagogue somewhere. And wait a minute, because that's not even the best part. This house, to power everything, has its own private power plant. I'm guessing a regular generator from Home Depot just probably wouldn't cover this place. Number 9. Xanadu 2.0, just the lot for this massive estate was bought in 1998 for $14 million by Bill Gates. After that, it took him another 7 years to custom build his $125 million home full of the latest tech. This ultra-modern house, named after the home of the lead character in Citizen Kane, has a rustic appearance and is spread over 66,000 square feet overlooking Lake Washington. The smart mansion alters the temperature, the lighting, and the art in a room based on electronic pins worn by residents and visitors. In addition, this lakeside abode boasts a 3,900 square foot pool building with an underwater sound system in the pool. I guess when you are the richest man in the world, you don't have to skimp on any features. Number 8. Via Leopolda, this overwhelming mansion, built in the early 1900s by King Leopold II as a gift for one of his mistresses, is valued today at over $750 million. The expansive estate was bought in the late 1980s by Lebanese banker Edmond Safra and his wife Lily. When Edmond died in 1999, he left the entire property to his wife, who is still the owner of the largest and the most expensive French villa in the world. Located on more than 20 acres of prime land, it has 11 bedrooms, 14 bathrooms, an outdoor kitchen, a large swimming pool, a commercial-sized greenhouse, and of course, its own helipad. Number 7. Kensington Palace Gardens, bought in 2004 by Indian steel tycoon Lakshmi Mittal. This spectacular property on the tree-lined Billionaires Row in Kensington Palace Gardens is valued at $90 million. The estate has been nicknamed the Taj Mahal by its owner. This is in reference to the house's renovations, which source marble from the same quarry as that used to build the Taj Mahal. Boasting 55,000 square feet of spacious luxury, this amazing property has 12 bedrooms, a hammam, which is a Turkish bath, a heated swimming pool, and its very own art gallery and ballroom. Number 6. The Fleur-de-Lis Mansion. Situated on 5 acres of land, the sprawling 45,000 square foot mansion was the highest priced home ever sold in Los Angeles at the time. It broke this record selling in 2014 to a French millionaire for $102 million. The gorgeous mansion was built in 2002 and it was modeled after a Baroque French chateau. Among its features, you'll find 12 bedrooms, 2 kitchens, a massive movie theater, a ballroom, a double-story library, a tennis court, gym, pool, and a 3,000 square foot private wine cellar with its very own tasting room. That sounds like a pretty serious wine tasting. Number 5. Casa Brutal, perched on the Fakra mountainside at an altitude of 5,200 feet. This remarkable home is being built into the rock, with none of the building visible above the surface level. It resembles a secret lair for a James Bond villain. The only evidence you'll find that the home is even there is the surface swimming pool, which has a transparent bottom made of reinforced glass, allowing those in the house to watch the swimmers above. The 3,000 square foot home, or secret lair more like it, sleeps 6 people and has an underground parking garage. Number 4. The Beverly House Located on 6 acres of land just 3 blocks from the famous Sunset Boulevard, this sprawling mansion is made up of a large Italian and Spanish-style main house, as well as smaller homes. The $135 million house has been used in many films, including The Godfather and The Bodyguard. The mansion features a 50-foot entrance hall, stunningly carved ceilings, a great library, a billiard room, a very large wine cellar, a spa, and in case you get bored of all this, an Art Deco nightclub. Number 3. The Manor at Holmby Hills. Built in 1998 by television producer Aaron Spelling and his wife Candy, this massive Los Angeles estate has 123 rooms in total and is valued at over $200 million. When you have that many rooms, you're bound to start looking for ways to fill them up, which is why Candy Spelling used one of the many rooms to house her doll collection. The manor at Holmby Hills, also known as the Spelling Manor, is spread over 56,000 square feet on a 5-acre property. The mansion features a screening room, a gym, a bowling alley, 3 rooms just for wrapping gifts, 4 separate 2-car garages, in addition to 16 carports and a 100-vehicle parking lot, a tennis court, and a swimming pool. This phenomenal manor is one of the largest homes in Los Angeles County. Listening to all these details, it's pretty easy to imagine why. Number 2. Buckingham Palace. Although technically this is a palace, it is also officially a home to Queen Elizabeth of England and the royal family. Built in the 1700s on 40 acres of land, the palace has an estimated value of over $1.5 billion. It has undergone several renovations and modifications while still maintaining the old classic palatial elegance. The palace features 775 separate rooms. Of these, 52 are for royal and guest bedrooms. 188 of them are bedrooms to house the staff, 78 are bathrooms, 92 are offices, and there are also 19 staterooms. The Palace Estate also boasts facilities for all the essentials, including a swimming pool, a tennis court, its very own chapel, a cinema, a lake, and just in case you wake up feeling bad one morning, its very own hospital. Number 1. Antilia. Situated on the very expensive Altamont Road in Mumbai, Antilia is the most expensive private home in the entire world, valued at over $1 billion. Built by Indian business tycoon and multi-billionaire Mukesh Ambani for himself, his wife, and their 3 children, this 27-story giant skyscraper sprawls over 400,000 square feet and became their own private home in 2012. Named after a phantom island in the Atlantic, Antilia contains a 6-story garage with parking for 168 cars, not 1, not 2, but 3 helipads, a ballroom, a health and a spa floor, gardens, guest suites, and its very own temple. It's not easy looking after a property this size, which is why it requires a 600-person staff just to maintain everything. Also, expect this building to be standing for a very long time. It was built to withstand earthquakes that measure up to an 8 on the Richter scale.
10 amazing tiny homes you'll want to live in. Number 10. The Barrier. Stepping up your housing game. Crazy design, crazy abilities. This Japanese tiny home has it all. Designed by Kimidori Housing, this 32-sided geodesic sphere, somewhat ironically named the Barrier, was designed to be disaster-resistant in any given scenario. It can float in a flood, and it has the structural integrity to resist earthquakes, being thrown into the air, or being buried underground, or under rubble. The shape is designed to cut down on the turbulence in the surrounding airflow, which in turn means less of a heat loss. They come in several varying sizes, from a small shelter approximately the dimensions of a doghouse to a full 540 square foot family dwelling. Best of all, several barriers can be combined, being linked together by small bridges to form more complex units with more amenities or just to help neighbors stick together, and they've been priced at under $15,000. 9. The Tiny Adventure Home. Breck and Kelsey are a rock climbing couple from Mississippi who decided that they wanted to downsize their life to tiny while still being able to pursue their hobby. So they turned to Tiny Heirloom, the luxury tiny house firm. The result was the Tiny Adventure Home, which features an actual rock climbing wall on its exterior. Inside, they managed to fit 2 floors with a bathroom, bedroom, home office/lounge, a kitchen, and a cozy dining room for 6 people. The home is based on a double-axle 28-foot, 8-meter-long trailer, which enables Breck and Kelsey to take their house with them wherever they go. And it gets its electrical energy from a standard RV-style hookup. In case you are wondering how you can move between 2 floors in a trailer, the answer is movable ladders. Number 8. The Hemloft Tiny Treehouse. The Hemloft might just be the most famous or infamous treehouse online right now because it is so adorable and so rebellious. It was built by Joel Allen, a former Canadian software developer who is currently a carpenter. We know that it is somewhere in the woods near Whistler in British Columbia, but nothing more specific, and for good reason. You see, Joel built this little egg-shaped nest on crown lands, meaning on government property, without permission. He carried all of the materials to his building site by hand and took away all the waste in the same way. The most fascinating thing about it is that the Hemloft is not just nestled among a few thick branches. It is actually built around the trunk of a living tree which supports all of the house's weight. Joel Allen managed to take both tiny houses and tree houses to a whole level in just one carpentry project. 7. The Exbury Egg. The Exbury Egg is a floating home and a research station merged into one. It is the residency of Stephen Turner, an artist whose specialty is long-term artistic explorations of environmental settings. Turner worked on designing the home together with the SPUD, Space, Placemaking, and Urban Design group designers. The idea is to use the egg to examine the changing patterns of local ecology while also creating artwork inspired and informed by its surroundings. What they hope to do with this is raise awareness of environmental change and the importance of protecting the environment. So every step from designing the egg to actually building it was centered on sustainability and eco-friendliness. Number 6. 1 square meter of home. Back in 2012, an architect named Van Bolementel introduced a house that's only 1 meter square in size, but it features a bedroom, an office, and can double as a store. It basically looks like a rustic phone booth with a pointy roof, but it's way more versatile. Since it has wheels, it takes portability to a whole new level, and depending on how you set it up, you can work at a tiny desk, daydream through a tiny window, or just plop it onto its side and tuck in a mattress that's just the right size for you. Although the aptly named 1 SQM house is not a completely viable space, no bathroom or kitchen, it can be an awesome hangout, and it is designed to be built with simple tools and affordable materials. There was a workshop in Berlin on how to build one, and participants received all the materials and instructions for a €250 fee. We're guessing thrifty shoppers with internet access can pull it off for a lot less. Number 5. The Mobile Egg Home. This futuristic little pod might look like something off of a sci-fi movie set, but it is an actual house. Meet the Eco Capsule, a futuristic home solution located in Bratislava, Slovakia. It was a collaboration project between the architects Thomas Zasek and Sona Paholova, who built it on 120 square feet total. Sadly, there is no online tutorial on how to build your own, but their company is currently accepting pre-offers for the first 50 Eco Capsule homes. They're designed to be a self-sustaining system which generates its own power and cleverly gets water from its surroundings. It is large enough for 2 people and would enable its tenants to live off the grid for up to a year. Seeing how the starting price for each of these tiny houses is roughly $90,000, they might not be as budget-friendly for young couples as they are eco-friendly. Number 4. A new wave of construction. James Law is an architect who decided to address Hong Kong's problem of overcrowding and troublesome housing costs. His company, James Law Cyber Texture, has figured out how to repurpose those cement pipes that you usually see all around construction sites. They named their invention the O-Pod Tube House. It's designed for two people at around 100 square feet of living space with all the typical amenities, while the second connected tube features a bathroom with a shower and additional storage space. Each tube costs about $15,000, which actually is just 1 year's rent for a long-term apartment or one down payment for a house. Best of all, they're stackable, which makes them perfect tiny housing for people who don't want to leave the urban environment, which was Law's idea in the first place. 3. By college students for everyone. College students are some of the most eager participants of the tiny homes hype, and small wonder with all the loans to pay off. So, as a project for the Renewable Energy and Ecological Design class, a group of students from Green Mountain College in Poultney, Vermont, built a completely sustainable tiny home that totals at just 70 square feet and looks like it came right out of a fairy tale. They named their invention Otis, the optimal traveling independent space. It cost them next to nothing to build it, since they made it all out of reclaimed materials. The Otis has a comfy sleeping area and the ability to collect and recycle rainwater, and is completely solar powered. Here's hoping they post a how-to somewhere online for all their fellow college students looking for affordable housing alternatives. 2. A new kind of portable. Leave it to the Chinese to come up with a new and awesome solution for overcrowded living spaces. The People's Architecture Office and People's Industrial Design Office in Beijing put their heads and resources together and designed a polypropylene mobile home which is so tiny you can cart it around on a tricycle. When you're not in it, this house can be folded away like a paper accordion to the tiny size of about 33 square feet. When you need it, not only is it expandable, you can attach it to others to get some extra space. It has all the necessary facilities: a bathtub, a sink, a stove, a water tank, and all the furniture is convertible. You can turn your bed into a dining table. The kitchen countertop transforms into a bench, and you can pick it all up and fold it away into the front wall. Number 1. Your very own house morpher. This is the Transforming A-Frame, a cute and clever little house in Memphis, Tennessee. The man behind the design, Joe Everson, is a Tennessee tiny home entrepreneur, which might explain his obvious knack for bringing together total simplicity and surprising elegance. The house is about 110 square feet, but if the weather gets bad, it can quickly be transformed into a closed mode to keep you safe from the angry nature, which further reduces its surface to just 80 square feet. Best of all, you don't have to buy the whole thing pre-made. The blueprints and instructions can be purchased for just $30, and building your own custom A-frame would come out at about $1,200 total. Although it doesn't feature solar panels, etc., by default, you can add them, making it more environmentally friendly. And even if you don't, the space is so tiny that your energy costs and waste production are basically non-existent. Most isolated homes ever. 19. The Hobbit House. An environmentally friendly, cozy abode lies in a forest in Wales, and a glance at it explains why it is called the Hobbit House. The cabin is dug into the hillside, creating a low visual impact cave-like shelter. A skylight roof lets in natural light with solar panels providing lighting. Water tapped from a nearby stream serves the house, and the collected roof water feeds a pond for the garden. Architect Simon Dale built the forest house collaboratively with his father, friends, and passers-by. It took 4 months and 3,000 pounds in materials to construct the remote cabin. 18. Tintaldra Cabin. Resting in the southern banks of Australia's River Murray is an off-grid cabin. Mods Cave Studio designed the prefabricated studio for a client who often travels overseas. The structure blends with the landscape and appears like a small vernacular shed from the road. An almost full-size glass window covering one of its walls offers a stunning view of the surrounding mountainous landscape. 17. The Cabin in the Woods. Before the series of similarly titled horror flicks came out, there once was a cabin in the woods built way back in the 1800s. Little John constructed the now famous earth cabin, also known as Backstuga in Sweden's southern Småland region. It partially rests beneath the ground with 3 stone and 1 wooden fall forming its structure. Currently, a woman who inherited the cabin lives with her husband in the underground forest cabin. They had to perform some restoration to its structure to save it from rot. Number 16. Just Room Enough Island. The name says it all, and this tiny island found on Canada's St. Lawrence River only has room for 1 house. In high tide, the waters of the river hit the walls of the house, and in low tide, the owners can soak up the sun on the porch. It is neighbor-free with nothing to see for miles other than water. 15. Luca Burek Hut. Located in the Julian Alps is a hut at the crest of the Foranon Buttes constructed by architect Giovanni Pesamosca. The house commemoratively takes the name of Luca Burek, a deceased climber. Standing approximately 8,303 feet from sea level, the cabin has 9 beds. It provides refuge free of charge to climbers, hikers, and just about anyone in need of a place to rest while scaling the mountains. 14. Eremo di San Colombano. The Italian monastery in Trembolino is not your ordinary home for hermits and monks. It is uniquely etched out on the side of a mountain, and you have to wonder how anyone gets to its doorstep. 102 steps also carved out into the rock lead to the hermitage. Frescoes carved out into its walls depict the legendary fight between the hermit San Colombano and the dragon he killed. There is also another fresco depicting Madonna and saints makes up the altar of the church. Number 13. Cliff Haven. The Utah Canyon home is yet another hidden abode carved out inside the walls of a geographical landmark. Located in Montezuma, Utah, the house is befittingly called the Cliff Haven. It is self-sustaining with a 12,000-gallon freshwater system, a vegetable garden, vineyard, orchard, and winery. The hidden home found an owner in 2017 following an auction sale. Number 12. The Hole in the Wall. Jim Perry and Susie Sue, who are residents of Berwick, live in a hole in the wall. A cave-like passage leads to their 1-bedroom private home set inside one of the town's walls in Northumberland, UK. Located near the Sallyport passageway, they cut through the city wall to build their idyllic home. The couple listed their property for sale in July 2016, and they were asking for £65,000. Number 11. Carrot House. Wedged in the alleyway between 2 buildings is a unique house that could be mistaken for some form of air ventilation shaft. The Carrot House in Warsaw, Poland is not a fully functioning house, but a narrow-walled museum of sorts. Jacques Kunczynski built the structure in commemoration of the Jewish ancestors he lost during the Holocaust. Number 10. Coober Pedy, Australia. The Australian landscape is not unfamiliar to hot days, and sometimes the weather goes to the extreme, making it unbearable to stay above ground. The residents of Coober Pedy decided to solve the problem the best way they could and built their entire town underground. Despite its location below ground level, the town is a fully functioning community complete with neighborhood restaurants, bars, hotels, and even a swimming pool. They sure weren't joking when they referred to the country as the land down under. Number 9. Mukang Chai Wooden Hut. Mukang Chai in Vietnam hides a wooden hut that houses farmers working in the rice fields. The terrace fields offer a sight to behold, and when you get a glimpse of the almost misplaced house, it is the perfect home away from home. 8. The 21-man remote Norway cabin. Snøhetta, an architecture firm, created a remote cabin in Norway's mountainside to give people a beautiful retreat. The structure features a natural construction comprising of elements such as grass and rocks. Not only is it secluded, but you might miss it against the backdrops of the landscape. The only way to reach the remote cabin is by foot, and the 376-foot house can host 21 people at any given time. It provides everything a group of hiking friends would need, including beds lined up against the wall, a storage room that doubles as a kitchen, and a fireplace. 7. Salzburg Crossroads House. Austria's fourth largest city, Salzburg, is surrounded by the breathtaking beauty of snow-capped mountains. Hidden somewhere in the greenest fields you have ever seen are crossroads. Another gem found smack in the middle of the intersection is a remote white-colored house. The house is even more beautiful in winter when the snow covers up everything around it, making them blend in with its white walls. Instead of white picket fences, 2 tall trees at the entrance and an enclosure of shrubs surround the house. The vegetation stays true to the seasons and blooms during the warmer summer months, only to shed their leaves in the colder winter months. 6. Holy Trinity Monastery. Greece offers a hidden sightseeing spectacle perched 1,300 feet from the ground. The history of the Holy Trinity Monastery goes back to more than 6 centuries ago. Construction of the main cathedral atop of Peneus Valley Hill began in the 15th century, followed by frescoes decorations in 1741. Priest Antonios and Nicholas, his brother, worked on the wall paintings that survive to date. Initially, the only way to reach the monastery was either by climbing a rope ladder or net. However, today 140 steps lead to the entrance of the building. 5. Mount Brown's Mountain Hut. Hikers scaling Mount Brown in New Zealand can make a much-needed pit stop on a remote hut found on its course. The shelter features everything a hiker needs to enjoy a break while taking in the beauty of the breathtaking landscape. Constructed in 1962, the Mountain Hut allows hikers to use it free of charge. Over the years, volunteers from the Brown Community Project team reinforced the structure. They encourage families and first-time trampers to use the shelter with signage set up around the Geologist Creek area. 4. Vestmannaeyjar Archipelago House. The Vestmannaeyjar Archipelago House, located on Iceland's Illide Island, once hosted 5 families almost 300 years ago. A small, solitary house remains standing and has been the cause of never-ending speculation. Amongst the theories is that singer Björk once owned the home, but in actuality, a hunting association owns the deserted house. A 1973 volcanic eruption drove off scores of people inhabiting some of the archipelago's island. However, the mesmerizing structure still stands and is open to visitors all year round. Number 3. Casa do Penedo. The House of Stone, located in Portugal's Guimarães Pafe Mountains, looks like something right out of the Flintstones. Built back in 1974, the isolated structure does not receive power supply and uses candles for lighting. Its construction made use of 4 boulders which remain in place all 44 years later. The home is a holiday retreat where anyone who wants to get away from the bustle of reality can take shelter. 2. The Drina River House. When people say that they want to go away to a place surrounded by nothing but nature, they do not have the Drina River House in mind. A wild river leads to the doorstep of the house that overlooks a dense green forest. The structure, perched atop a small rock rests amidst the Drina River in Serbia, is every bit a marvelous wonder. Imagine getting back home in the wee hours of the night. Do you take a boat ride or swim to your doorstep? Boys have wild imaginations and combine that with an unusually hot 1968 summer day, and that is how the structure came into being. It started with a few wooden boards which the untamable Drina River washed away, followed by the house that stands on the rock. Over the years, the river kept sweeping the house away over the 50 years that followed, but locals rebuilt it a total of 6 times up to date. Number 1. The Cabin on the Roof. Sometimes you do not have to go anywhere to get away, as proved by the scores of rooftop homes found scattered on New York's high-rise buildings. Located in Manhattan's West Village is a quaint rooftop cabin owned by David Pushkoff and Eileen Stucane. The two wanted the best of both worlds and created the little piece of suburban heaven in the city. Their rooftop abode comes complete with a porch where the two possibly dream of spending the best of their time on rocking chairs. While they might have to settle for a semi-isolated life in their golden years, it does not hurt knowing that Starbucks is just a couple of minutes away. 15 stubborn homeowners who refuse to move out. Number 15. Austin Spriggs. As you'll see throughout this list, sometimes being stubborn is a good thing, but other times it can bite you in the butt. Such is the case with Austin Spriggs. You see, he owned a little property in Washington, D.C., and when people came to buy it, he refused to sell. The reason they wanted to buy it was because the entire area was getting remade in a grander image, and his place was the last holdout. And he was so stubborn that he actually attempted to wait out the buyers in order to keep a hold on his property, which, ironically, he didn't live in. The offers even got as high as $2 million, all for a tiny piece of property. To further stick it to them, he went from using the house he had for his own little business to trying to make a pizzeria, but it never opened thanks to the banks threatening foreclosure. Here's where the twist comes in. You see, because he didn't maintain the property after that, it was later determined that he had to sell it. He asked for $1.5 million for the property, but by the end of the deal, he only got $750,000. That's a pittance compared to the $2 million he was once offered. So let that be a lesson. Just because you can hold out doesn't always mean you should. 14. Yang. For one family in China, they're facing a battle that's pushing the boundaries of both good business and threatening to make a family work harder just to live. You see, a company in China bought up all the land around the house of a family with the last name Yang. When they wouldn't sell, the people started to basically sabotage the property, including making it so that the house was in a literal hole. Not an underground hole, mind you, but rather they're on a raised platform of earth and everything around it has been dug out. But it didn't stop with the landscaping. The company actually went to even darker measures, making it so that they couldn't get water or electricity to their house. The family has to now walk over a mile just to get water, and they likely use lamps to get any light outside of the sun. While you can understand why the government and builders wanted this land for urbanization reasons, doing what they did to this family was wrong. Number 13. The house in the middle of the road. Oh, you thought we were done talking about China? Hardly, because China has been working on expansion and urbanization for some time, and when they want something, they'll go to many lengths to get it, even if it means just making a road. You see, China wanted to make a road in a key area, but the problem was an apartment complex that was in the path of where they wanted to get to. The owners were an elderly couple, and they refused to move. China didn't like that at all, but they couldn't exactly force them out because the couple owned the land rights. So what was the government to do? Easy. China built the road around them, but in a more literal fashion. The road is literally all around the house, with them barely having anything resembling a yard. The homeowners would eventually move out. How could they not? But the house remained a symbol of freedom and defiance against the government and their tactics. 12. New Chungang and Zhang Zhongyang. We already showed you one tale of homeowners fighting the power against the Chinese government, and contractors that would lead to their house being put on a raised plateau. Well, Niu Chungang and Zhang Chongyun had a similar thing happen to them, and arguably even worse. They too were in the way of progress in a province of China, and they refused to move their houses that were connected. So the Chinese construction company dug around them and started making massive skyscrapers. Along the way, they cut off many basic amenities that the two needed to live, but they stayed where they were. Just as bad, though, gangsters of the area came in and threatened them repeatedly, trying to tear down the house illegally so that construction could continue. The couple fended for themselves and battled for years to keep their homes. Number 11. The duplex problem. Out there in the world right now are plenty of odd and unique houses that are just begging to be stared at, and one such place is a duplex that is not only more than meets the eye, you'll think your eyes are playing tricks on you. You see, one day a person came along and wanted to buy the duplex that resided in Toronto. One resident in it was all for it, the other was not and refused to sell. Very typical stuff if you think about it. That was a problem for the deal overall, though, but the property buyers made a unique solution to the problem. They proposed, and the residents agreed, to cut the building in half and seal up the middle so that the other duplex owner could still live there, yet the business people would get their building. And yeah, they agreed to do just that. There are so many questions I have in regards to this whole idea. Who agreed to this? Who suggested this? Who came to their boss and said, well, we could always cut the place in half? And why did the duplex owner agree to this? Be honest with me. If you were that guy in the duplex, would you be okay with it being cut in half and sealed off? I don't think I would. 10. The 360 road. You've already seen a case of a road going through it, but how about one being built around it? This yet again happened in China. The property buyers were trying to make a highway, a familiar theme by now, but a group of people refused to sell their houses. 3 families, in fact, refused to sell. They actually became known as the nail houses because their houses, via the owners, were nailed to the ground. If that's not a battle cry, I don't know what is. Anyway, construction had to happen because plans were already in place for what came next. So they literally built a 360-degree highway that went all the way around their houses. The result is what you see here, and if you pay attention to the image, you'll notice that the families still have access to the roads themselves as those couldn't be blocked off. While the noise must be terrible, the feeling of winning like that must be cool. Number 9. House under the bridge. Would you like to hear how far a company will go to build what they need to build? For one property owner, they wanted to buy a house so that they could make a bridge of sorts, which is totally fine. The homeowners refused, which is also totally fine and within their rights. But the bridge needed to be built anyway, so they built it over the house, like directly over it, which they can legally do. The results speak for themselves, but it's no less striking of an image. Can you imagine the construction going on and the fear that the homeowner must have had about a piece of rock or other material smashing into their house? Makes you glad it wasn't your house they did this to, huh? 8. Souvenirs, anyone? Okay, I'll admit, this one was actually rather creative. You see, a place called the Victoria Hotel was attempting to be built, but the problem was that 2 little houses were in the way of them finishing construction, and yep, you guessed it, the homeowners refused to sell. So, like you would expect, the hotel got built around these little homes, creating quite a visual as a result of that. But here's the twist. The houses that are still there, they aren't owned by the homeowners anymore. They're now full-on souvenir shops. Rather creative, don't you think? Number 7. Grave situation. Another interesting case from China didn't involve a house, but a grave site. As anyone who has buried a loved one knows, digging up the remains of the lost for a reason such as urbanization is a bridge too far to cross. So, one Chinese family refused to give up the land that their family was buried on. Not unlike other houses on the list, they found themselves looking at a column of dirt as construction work was built around it. Eventually, the family was bought out, but not before a unique story was born. 6. Macy's. What's that? You think only the common people get jammed up by property deals and such? Not exactly. Let me take you back to the 1900s, when a man named Macy was going to open up his store on the legendary 34th Street. He had everything he needed, except for a spot on the corner. A very important spot, you see. This one building was on the corner of 34th Street, and another buyer got the property to try and mess with Macy's plan to build his store there. Sadly for that guy, Macy's still went through with it, and Macy's endures to this day. But in a twist, Macy's still doesn't own that corner building, though they've made the most of the situation via putting ads on the building. Number 5. Shop versus mall. Massive malls are built all the time, and China has been building them in bulk to try and urbanize the area. But in Hunan province, there was a holdout, a small old store that refused to leave because they owned the rights to be there. The mall was still built, but the house still remains, and it's still open for business. In a way, it shows off just how much times have changed in regards to how stores were to how they are now. 4. Randall Acre. Usually, people want to avoid living on campuses when they're not students because young adults can be quite a problem. One homeowner from Oregon, though, didn't care, though. He wasn't leaving for anything. His name is Randall Acre, and he owned a small but lovely Victorian home. When a buyer came around to try and get his property, he promptly refused, which was his right to do so. One problem, he lived in Portland, Oregon, and the people that were trying to buy his property were building something for a school, a residence hall for a university to be exact, yet because he refused to move, they had to improvise. They went and made the residence hall around the plot of land, so if you head to the Portland State University Residence Hall, you'll see a small house right next to it. Who won here? You decide. Number 3, holy apartment. What is it with people wanting to tear down beautiful homes just to make gaudy apartments? Well, in the case of the Queen Anne house, the homeowner refused to budge an inch and give the people wanting to make the apartments what they wanted. And sure enough, the apartments had to be built around the place as a whole. Here's the twist though. There's a brand new reason why the building can't be taken down now. It's a church, and one does not simply remove a holy building from a place. 2. The coffee shop. It's not just homeowners who have refused to sell their places. It's shop owners too. And for Sela Odanji, he had a coffee shop in France and he refused to sell, mainly because he had worked in it for 46 years. Talk about a long tenure. He is literally the last building standing in his old neighborhood, and that's fine with him so long as the coffee shop stands. Number 1. Edith Macefield. Congrats! You have made it up to the end of the list, and you've heard a lot of stories about great houses and homeowners. But Edith Macefield earns a high spot on this list because of what her story inspired, a classic movie by Pixar. You see, Edith owned her home in an area of Seattle, Ballard to be precise, that was getting bought up by big businesses. She was seeing all the old homes being taken down and shiny new ones being constructed in their place. Well, she decided to refuse every single offer made to her in regards to selling her home. She was even offered $1 million, but she refused. Eventually, as you can see, her home is still there, and big business literally had to build around her plot of land, which became a shopping mall. So imagine that visual as you're going to one of those shops. If this sounds familiar, it's because this is the story of Carl from Up. He did the same thing and wouldn't sell his home for any amount of money. The story of Carl was based on what Edith did, and those balloons on her house, that was put there after Up came out and her story was revealed. The biggest irony of this story is that Edith became friends with the chief contractor of the mall, and when all was said and done and she passed at the age of 87, she left the house to him in the will. Talk about faith and friendship.